Assalamualaikum and hi everyone and also madams. My name is Amir Iskandar Shah bin Amir Hatta. My metric number H19A0044.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aidin bin Ahmad Ahmad and my metric number is H19A0203.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Ummi Aisha binti Rahmat. My metric number is H19A0880.
Assalamualaikum, I am Zulai binti Zakaria. My metric number is H19A0915.
Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is Wardana Jiha binti Tamizi and my metric number is H19A0907. This is introduction of our study. Business statistics being the process of analyzing, categorizing, interpreting, and compiling data. Business statistics used to draw conclusions and making decision requires reasonable, mathematical, and logical reasoning. These statistical data are built through 5 aspects such as data arrangement, position, diversion, central tendency, and graph method to analyze the data. Next is data arrangement. Data arrangement is data that can be described using tables and graphs. There are 3 types of tables that can be used to describe the data of current price of banglo for a given size in Alustar Kedah, which are frequency distribution, relative frequency, and cumulative frequency. The graphical method that used in this study is histogram. Histogram is a graphical representation that organizes a group of data points into user-specified range. Next is central tendency. Central tendency is descriptive summary of a data set through a single value that reflects the center of the data distribution. There are 3 measures that can be used to describe the data, which are mean, mode, and median. Measure of variation describe the width of distribution. 3 parameters that used to quantify the amount of variation are range, variance, and standard deviation. The last one is measure of position that mean to determine the measurement of position. The different measures of position are quantized, decized, and precized.
Data arrangement. Data can be described by using a table and graph. There are 3 types of tables that can be used to describe the data. First is frequency distribution, second is relative frequency distribution, and third is cumulative frequency distribution. Here is the table of the current price of banglo for a given size in Alustar Kedah. Frequency distribution. Frequency distribution is a representation in graphical and also table format. It used to extend the data collected in sample. There are 5 steps in frequency distribution. First is decide on the number of classes. By using formula 2 power k is greater than n, which n equal 29, and we found the number of classes is 5. 2 power 5 equal 32. It is greater than 29. Step 2 is determine the class width. The formula for class width is maximum entry minus minimum entry divided by number of classes, and we got 12 as our class width. Next, we continue to step 3, 4, and 5 to complete the frequency distribution table as below. Next is relative frequency. The relative frequency is the portion of percentage of the data that falls in that class. We are using formula class frequency divided by sample size to complete our relative frequency table. Cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is the sum of the frequency for that class and all previous classes. Cumulative frequency is equal to sample size, which is 29.
So, I will continue with my part graphical method. In this graphical method, we use histogram table and histogram graph to classify each details the data requirement. So, if you can see here, this is our histogram table. Histogram table has been divided into 5 sections to facilitate the collection of requirement data set and ordinary manners. This is our histogram graph. Histogram graph is a bar graph that represents the frequency distribution of the data set. Other than that, we also use ORGIF table and ORGIF graph also have the same function, which is to classify data in the details. This is our ORGIF graph. This graph show the cumulative frequency graph, or ORGIF is a line graph that display the cumulative frequency of each class at upper boundaries.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Adi bin Abdullah Azman. My ticket number is H1980270. Okay, today I will present about measures of central tendency. Okay, a measure of central tendency is a single value that attempts to describe a set data by identifying of central position within the sets of the data. And the types of measure central tendency are mean, median, and mode. Okay, we go to the mean. Okay, the mean is average of the data set is found by adding all numbers in the data sets and dividing by the numbers of the values in the sets. Median is the middle value when a data set is ordered from least to greatest. Okay, in my table, see the frequency is 6747.25, and the answer is midpoint x equal fs divide n, and 6747.25 divide 29, and the answer is 232.66 ringgit Malaysia. And for conclusion, therefore the mean for current price is 232.66 ringgit, which is 232.663 banglo for given size in Arusta Kedah. Okay, we go to median. What is median? Median is the middle number that found by ordering all data points and picking out the one of in the middle. In my table, the frequency is 29, and for answer 8 is step 1 is occasion median current price, and 29 divide 2, the answer is 15.5 observation. Therefore the median current price is 226.3 to 238.2. Step 2 is lower class boundary, LM. LM meaning is lower boundary, and the answer is 225.8. Step 3 is current price, and 238.7 to minus 225.8, and the answer is 12.9. And step 2 is determine frequency before median and frequency after median, and the answer is frequency before median is 10, and frequency after median is 4, and to calculate the median is 225.8 plus 29 divide 2 minus 10 divide 4 and multiply 12.9, and the answer is 3291.44. And for conclusion is, so the median for the 4 current price is 3,291.48 ringgit Malaysia, which is 3,291.486 banglo for given size in Arusta Kedah. Okay, finally is mode. What is mode? The most is the value that appears most frequently in the data sets. The mode can be same value as the mean and median, but it usually looks and the data. Okay, the answer is in step 1 is determine occasion model current price and highest frequency. The answer is therefore the current price is 238.3 to 250.2. Step 2 is determine our current price nominally, and the answer is 237.8. Step 3 is determine current price, and 215.7 and minus 237.8, and the answer is 12.9. And the answer for step 4 is determine difference 1 and difference 2. And difference 1 before mode is 8, and after mode is 2. And step 5 to correct mode, and the answer is 237.8 plus 8 divide 8 plus 2 and multiply 12.9, and the answer is 2454.10. And the conclusion is the highest number of the current price of bungalow for given size in Alustar Kedah is 2454.10.
Measure of central tendency is some parameters attempt to describe the amount of variation between random variables. 3 parameters that are used to quantify the amount of variation in a set of random variables are range, variance, and standard deviation. First is range. The range of data is used to measure the difference between the maximum and minimum data entries of the set. The formula to measure range is range equal to maximum data entry in bracket minus minimum data entry in bracket. So the solution is 262.2 minus 202.3 equal to 59.9. So the range is 59.9, which is about 60,000 ringgit Malaysia. Next is variance. This is formula that we use to calculate the variance. We also provide the tables of the current price of bungalow for a given size in Alustar Kedah. This table contains classes, frequency, midpoint as power of 2, Fs and Fs power of 2. One is standard deviation. The formula that shown in the slide is the formula that we use to calculate the standard deviation in our study. Therefore, the sample variance for current price of bungalow for a given size in Alustar Kedah is about 313.53 ringgit Malaysia, while the standard deviation is about 17.70 ringgit Malaysia.
We're going to measure of position. In measure of position, the most important position is the mean or average value for a variable. It is because the mean provides a measure of central position for the data. The different measure of position are quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. 3 is, you can see that what the difference is. First, quartiles. The data of quartile can be divided into 4 equal parts. Deciles. The data set of deciles can be divided into 10 equal parts. And lastly is percentiles. The data of percentiles can be divided into 100 equal parts. When we look at the data table, we will be able to see the variability in terms of class, frequency, relative frequency, and cumulative frequency. I use the formula Q equals L plus N divided by 4 minus F multiplied by C. As we see for quartile 1, it is Q1 equals N multiplied by 4, or 29 divided by 4 equal 7.25. Class interval by 202.3 ends at 214.2. Lower class or L is 214.3 minus 0.5. My answer is 213.8, class width C by 12, and frequency F by 2. And when we calculate Q1 equal 213.8 plus 72.5 minus 8 divided 2 multiplied by 12, and we get my answer is 209.3. And for quartile 3, I use the formula Q equals L plus N divided by 4 minus F multiplied by C. Q3 equals 3 multiplied by 4, or 3 in parentheses 29 divided by 4 equals 21.8. Class interval by 202.3 ends at 214.2. Lower class is 238.7, frequency 14, class width by 12, and as frequency is 11. Q3 equals 238.7 plus 72.5 minus 21.8 minus 14 divided by 11 multiplied by 12, and we get my answer is 247.2. And lastly, for interquartile range, formula Q3 minus Q1. Q3 as 247.3 minus Q1 as 209.3, and the answer is 67.9.
As a conclusion, we use some methods such as agreement, graphical method, a measure of the tendency, and a measure of position to calculate the data current price, bungalow of size given square feet in Alustar Kedah. A first step to arrange the data given, we use frequency distribution to calculate the number of class interval with 12 and the class limit. In addition, relative frequency distribution and cumulative frequency distribution are also used to arrange the data. For the graphical method, we use two types of graphs such as OGIF and histogram. We use measure of central tendency to calculate mode, mean, and median, where the mode will start as RM2454.10, means RM232.66, and median RM3291.48. For a measure of variance, we use range 59.9, variation 313.53, and standard deviation 17.70. The quartile method we use to calculate the interquartile range 37.9 for the measure of position. The shape of the distribution can be divided into two types such as symmetric and non-symmetric. The symmetric line will occur when a vertical line can be drawn through the middle of the graph of distribution, where the graph of the distribution equals to skew into left or skew into right graph. The graph of the distribution of the current price RM000 bungalows for a given size square feet in Alustar Kedah. If you can see, this is the graph, therefore it is skewed to the right. I think that's all from me. Thank you.